Welcome back. We have been doing a lot of really basic Python stuff, but it's stuff that we're going to be continuing to use. We've learned about arithmetic operators, the plus, minus, multiplication, division, all that good stuff. We have learned about assignment operators, and we've used those, and we're going to use those again today. We're going to learn about, there's some more, comparison operators, and I don't know if we'll use those today, but we might. And we talked about booleans, or yes, no, true, false statements. We also talked about if-then statements or if-else statements, and I think that might be about it. So with all of that stuff, that's a lot of information in a very short amount of time. If you feel uncomfortable with your knowledge level, it is absolutely okay to stop what you're doing right now and go do a little bit more research. I'm not going to go any further in depth on those only. And what I mean by that is we will continue to use those throughout the rest of the day and tomorrow, but I'm not going to go in depth on those because you can add them to what you're doing later and learn a little bit more as you're going. But like I said, if you're uncomfortable with it, there's lots and lots of options out there that can teach you more. 101 Python challenges through 101computing.net is very good. Trinket has some good tutorials. W3 School, I think is what it's called, has some good tutorials. So absolutely feel free to learn more. If you have specific questions, you can either add to the comments or contact me via email, and that's a totally doable and acceptable thing to do. So now we are going to actually talk about Python libraries. And Python libraries, basically when Guido van Rossum invented Python back in the 80s, he created a reasonably robust program, but there were some shortcomings. The way that he dealt with that was not to hold on to it tightly and say, just call me and I'll add to it. He said, go ahead and fix it. And if what you do is great, we will add it as a library to Python and everyone can use it. And so now there are Python standards library, which I want to say has, I don't know, hundreds of libraries, maybe more than hundreds of libraries that will improve your Python functionality. So when I use Python, if I want to measure something in minutes or seconds or days or anything like that, I could write a really long code to do that. Or I can use the Python datetime library, and you can see there's some serious code behind it. All I have to do is put in things like datetime minutes, and it'll tell me how many minutes, and so on. And it's a little more complicated than that, but all we have to do is import those libraries. And we are actually going to be doing that today in Trinket. We're going to be importing the datetime library, and within the datetime library is a second library called the time library. And we're actually going to calculate, and I've already got it all written up here if you can read it. We're going to calculate how many or how quickly people search for things within Google. So I did a very quick, ironically, Google search and found out that there are 36,000 queries, Google queries, per second throughout the world. So I wrote a very quick, and I actually did kind of derive this from the 101 Python challenges, but I wrote a very, very quick Python while loop so that it could count how many Google searches happen while I'm running this program. So this says import my datetime library, import my time library, Then I need to create a variable called number of Googles. I could have made it even more descriptive and put number of Google searches or just number of searches. Doesn't really matter. This is mine, and I chose that. I'm going to start it at 0. And so I set that variable to 0. Then I said, while this is true, time.sleep, and that's basically every time the clock counts 1 second. And that's what this 1 is. So every time the seconds go up by 1, add 36,000 to my variable number of Googles. And you can see add is, and I can make spaces here so it's easier to see, the plus equals sign. And if I go back to this, in here, if I want to add to my variable, I use the plus equals sign. Go. Okay. And then I simply print the number of Googles. Now I could, and probably should, print there are plus change that to a string. Oops. Plus using the wrong words here right now. That's okay. It'll give you an idea. So if I hit run, there are, and see, that isn't, my words here are incorrect. Being searched since you pressed run. Now, I can hit enter here and absolutely nothing's going to happen over here because I have to stop the program and then I have to rerun it. Now you can create this for lots and lots of different things. How many tweets are being tweeted, how many emails are being sent per second, how many see, I should have used the word query here, how many queries are being searched, how many. And you can do it by car, or not by car, by year. How many cars are being made worldwide right this year, or per year? How quickly the population is increasing, how quickly our national debt is increasing. That is on an exponential curve. So you can actually use this while loop to do that kind of thing. So I'm going to stop this before it gets a little too tedious. And you can see how quickly that goes up. I'm going to stop this, I'm going to let you recreate this, and then I'm going to let you modify it. Take some time, modify it, look up something that you're interested in. How many X is happening every second? How many kids are going hungry? How many, I don't know, all kinds of things. So go ahead and do that and just kind of learn a little bit more about your world and create a operation or a program that can help you count that. Alright, so in this video you have learned about libraries and you have learned about while loops. And while loops are loops that continue the whole time that the program is running. Now we're going to talk about a different type of library, and we're going to talk about for loops, which means that while certain conditions are met, then run, and when all those conditions are met, then stop. And we're also going to talk about the Turtle library. And the Turtle library is a library that is used mainly in education, or actually exclusively in education, and it's very reminiscent of the 1980s Logo program. Very likely none of you have ever heard of it, but it's how I learned to program. And basically it's just drawing with commands, and this is a little bit more specific than the logo program was, but it kind of allows you to learn the concepts like loops and if-thens and so on with it being a little bit less boring, because let's call it like it is. Python can get a little boring. So this is actually a program, it's already written for the turtle. So import turtle, and then I had to name my turtle and tell him that I wanted it to be in the turtle shape because I like the turtle shape. There's other shapes. You can do arrow and other things. You'd have to actually look it up. I don't remember what shapes there are available, dots and things like that. But then tell it that I wanted the turtle shape. Then I need to create a list, and that's another thing we need to talk about. This is a list. It is in square brackets, and there is a comma between each word. So this is a list, and what I want to tell it is for, meaning while this is happening, or until the conditions are met, go through each color in my list colors, create an angle of 360, give it one of these colors, draw a circle, turn to 90 degrees, and go forward 30 pixels. So let's run that. Kind of fun. So now I've created a loop in all of these different colors, and you can see they match up. Red, orange, yellow, all in the same order. So just a fun little way to do for loops. I would really like it if you would recreate this and modify it. Change the colors, change the angles, have fun with it, because Turtle can be a little bit of fun. So play with that for a little while, and we'll come back to a new video.